Hey gang, today we're going to do the chords to Journey's Lights. We did the solo before, so we'll cover the chords this time. We'll do the intro kind of exactly, and then we'll cover the chords and some of the fills that Neal Shon's putting in, and then give you an idea of like how to do your own fills. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy this one. Hey, as usual, if you like this, give it the thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, subscribe for a couple of these every week. Including a live stream that we do on Sunday that's a lot of fun. Why don't you join us sometime? We do it Sundays at noon Eastern Time. Would love to see you there. Okay, in just a second, we'll go over all of these coming right up. All right, gang. Let's go through this, not note for note, but we'll do the intro more or less note for note, and I will put that in the tab, and then we'll cover the chords, and I'll put the chords in the tab. All right, and we'll cover some of the fills over the chords. All right, so first of all, however, let's talk about the sound. So here's what I do. I use the same sound that I did on the lead, which is I'm obviously using a Strat-style guitar. I'm using the neck pickup to get some of those deeper tones on the solo. And then what I'm doing to it is I've got a sort of a classic amp or a classic amp model, and I've got the gain cranked up somewhere between 7 and 8, so a decent amount of gain. I've got a little bit of reverb on, and I've got a little bit of delay, and I've got some compression on. You can take off the compression if you like. Or you can do whatever you want if you like. But anyway, you can take off the compression. I think that's going to help. Now, what I do, that gives me a tone like this. So that's more for the solo. And then what I do is I just take my volume knob, and I've got it on 10. I'm going to back it off. Now I back it off to about 8 to clean up the sound so it's just breaking up. You hear the difference? That's full. And now here's just at about 8. Now your volume knob is going to be different than mine, so you'll have to test that out. But anyway, that's what I do to get this. And I think it's a reasonable facsimile of what Neal Shon's doing. Okay, let's go over the intro, and then we'll do the rest of the chords. All right. So I think this is best understood if you think about the basic chords, and then we'll think about how to embellish them by doing those little Hendrix hammer-ons and pull-offs. Okay? So, here's what I think. I think about the D chord right here. Let's just go through the chords, and then we'll target them in the way that I think Neal Schon thought about it, maybe. D to a B minor. D to an A. And now walking up back to the D, we go B minor, C, to the D. Okay, so basically it's all pretty straightforward. We're just playing D, B minor, D, A, B minor, C, and then back to D. So however, when we play that D, we're going to do a couple of different things. The first thing we're going to think of is we're going to use an inversion, a different inversion of D. So instead of putting the bass note on D at the bottom, we're going to put the third of the chord on the bottom. And a lot of people think of this as sort of the Hendrix-y version of this. And I'll show you why in a second. But in any way, so we've got the root note here on the 5th string, 5th fret. We're going to instead play the third, 1, 2, 3, which is an F sharp on the 9th fret of the A string. We're going to play that, and then we're going to play 7, 7. So we're going to keep the next notes. We're going to keep these, but we're just going to shift our bass note to that F sharp. See, that's that. Now, I think some people like to think of this as the Hendrix inversion because you can play all sorts of stuff like this. Sounds great, right? And that's Hendrix did a lot of that. And in fact, Neal Schon does some of that, a lot of that in this particular song. So we're going to play that right here. So slide up on the 5th string. We're going to slide up to the 9. and play 7/7. And then we're going to play this little Hendrix thing right here. We're going to, we're going to play the 7 and 7 on the 4 and 3rd string. And with our pinky, we're going to hammer on and pull off on that 3rd string from the 7th to the 9th. And then play the 9th on the 4th string. Right? That's what we're doing on the first one. Okay, now we're going to come down to our B minor, root on the 5th string, 2nd fret. The A string, 2nd fret is a B. Okay, so that right there. And we're going to play a B minor 7th, and we're going to flick on and off on the 2nd string from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret. Now this may be a bit of a stretch for some of you. It is for me, so I have to play it and kind of warm up a little bit. But this is a slightly different feel. Instead of playing, we're playing just a little flick. All right? Now we're going to go back to our D, same as it was before. Now to our A. All right, so that's just an A with a root on the open 5th string, which is the A string. Then 2/2 on the D and G strings. And then on the B string, we're going to play 2, flick on to 3, and pull off to 2. Use any finger you want to hammer onto that. All right? So some people, I should say, some people like to play the sort of the Keith Richards version, which is kind of hinting at a D chord right there. All I hear on the record is for the flick on the 2nd string, but it doesn't matter. They both sound good, so pick whichever one you like better, all right? Now we're going to go back to our B minor, play it exactly the same way. We'll go to a C. This one is on the 2nd string 5th. We're going to hammer onto the 6th and pull off. Flick it same way. And then last one is our D with the F sharp and a bass, but we're not going to play our little Hendrix-y thing. We're just going to let it sit. And that is the entire intro. So that's the intro. The chords, I should say there's a couple of different ways you can play the chords. Now, you don't have to go all the way down here to get that A. You can play it right here, this form of the A, if you want. And that sounds good. It's got a little bit different timbre than what is on the, or timbre than what is on the record. But they both sound good. So if you prefer this A, by all means, go ahead and do it. And same thing with this B minor right here. That works as well. If you want to use this B minor to play your hammer on and pull off, be my guest. It sounds great. All right? Okay. Now let's go over the verse chords, and then we'll go over the bridge chords, and we'll be done. All right. So in the verse chords, they kind of sound like this. All right, so this one is our old friend, that D with the F sharp and a bass. And now we are going to use the B minor right here. And have that same hammer on and pull off pattern with the D. This time we don't flick it. Now, we do this. This might be a little bit of a different chord than you've seen before. This is simply a C chord, but I'm playing the bass with my pinky on the 6th string on the 8th fret. And so it's 6th string 8th, 5th string 7th, and then I'm playing 4th string 5th and 3rd string 5th. So that's a C triad. Now, if you're not familiar with that, envision the G chord that you normally play as a cowboy chord right here. And then use your first finger as a capo and go all the way up to the 8th fret. And that's a C chord, right? Because the root is right there on the 8th fret. Now, why on earth would you play that? Because that is not too fun chord to play. It doesn't feel so good, right? Well, first of all, I'm simplifying it a little bit by only playing 6, 5, 4, 3. Still is not so easy to play. So if you have some issues playing it, I would advise just go ahead and playing the normal C chord with the root on the third string, on the 5th string, 3rd fret. All sounds good. If you want to keep it nice and compact, you can play it right there. All right. Now we're going to play a little Neal Schon fill. And it's normal to play this sort of thing, and I want to explain it in just a second. So let's first of all get what it is. So we're playing on the 3rd string, 5th, sliding up to the 7th, and then walking down 5th, and then on the 4th string, 7th, and 5th. Now, why does that work? Why does it sound so cool or so natural? Well, part of it is this whole Hendrix idea that when I play a chord, especially a major chord, I can play some pentatonics around there, some major pentatonics. So those pentatonics, if I think about the C major pentatonic scale, all of those notes are the C major pentatonic scale. They're going to sound good over a C chord. So if I play this, all those sound great, right? So the same thing, if I play the B minor, I can play a minor pentatonic, A major, all sounds good, right? So a lot of the fills that he's doing are simply that. When he gets to some of these, like the D, since the song is primarily in the key of D, he can use D major instead of major pentatonic. He can use a few extra notes, and he does. See, I use this note right here, which is not in a D major pentatonic. Why? Because I could get away with it because it's in D major, the song. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We can think about those pentatonics. So for this one, we're just going to play a simple one over that C, and then we're back to our D. B minor. Let's do another fill. Let's do one more that's very common. Let's do this one. Nice and cool one. That's very Neal Schon. I love that. Neal Schon's not the only one who does that, but I love how he does that in there. This is called a 4th. Hendrix used this a lot. Curtis Mayfield used it a lot. Other people used it a lot. A 4th is just 2 notes within a scale that are separated by 4 notes themselves. All right, so for example, C major scale would be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this one and this one are 4 notes apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And this one too. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can play, and it sounds great over that C chord. So try that. The ones to learn, I think, are the basic major pentatonic pattern. All of those sound really good in their context. If you're playing over a major chord, it sounds great. Over at, say, a D major. All right, and he uses that in the solo too, so the bonus, if you get that. All right, so that's the major. That's the verse part. All right. Okay, so the last part is the bridge. It's sad. That part right there. So it's sad. Let's go over that, and that's what he solos over. So that's actually pretty straightforward. Those chords are B minor, And every morning. Oops. Every morning. So that's B minor to G. Every morning. D. Do sad without you, B minor. Without your G, without your chord, D, A. B minor, whoa, whoa, na, 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 na. G to D, na, na, na. And then B minor, C, D. Right? So that's that. The chords in that bridge are pretty cool. So it's B minor to G, D, then B minor, G, D, A, B minor, G, D, and then B minor, C, D. All right, and that's it. And you don't have to play the full chords. You can play just notes out of those, and it's great. Try some of those fills. Try to find fills of your own using that some of those things that we talked about, the major pentatonic scale for each of those chords, and the major scale for D. When you hit the D or the B minor is going to sound great. All right? All right, gang. Well, there you have it. The chords and the fills to Journey's Lights, at least to give you a flavor of what those are. And hope you enjoy playing that sort of thing. I have a blast playing that kind of music and those kind of fills. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll see you on down the road.